Hello and welcome to today's Thought for the Day. There's a poem that has stayed with me from my student days. It's by the Irish poet W.B. Yeats and it's called Like a Long-Legged Fly Upon the Stream. There's a refrain which is repeated between each of the three verses of the poem. A little differently it's repeated each time according to the gender it refers to. Like a long-legged fly upon the stream, her mind moves upon silence. I'll read the poem at the end of this reflection. I'd first like to try and draw out a few thoughts about how the poem may speak to us during this still very unstable time of the pandemic in the world. Each verse of the poem leans into the life of a great European historical figure, real or imaginary: Julius Caesar, Helen of Troy, and Michelangelo. Yeats imagined and portrayed each of these people not so much for what they are each distinctly famous for, but something they all shared, but generally is overlooked. This something he considered gave rise to their actions. In just a few brief words, he is able to bring each of these characters alive for us. Julius Caesar as leader in Roman warfare, now he's strategizing in his tent, working out how to save civilization. Helen of Troy had incredible beauty, which toppled cities, but here she's practicing a tinker shuffle, picked up on the street. And finally, the artist Michelangelo. He's imaged at work as artist of the Sistine Chapel, and his hands move to and fro with no more sound than the mice make. Each verse is a brief description of these figures in action. Between each verse is this refrain: like a long-legged fly upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence. Human action which speaks into the world, into history, and makes a difference, arises and rests upon a place of deep meditation. This is an internal space where, like the delicate movement of a small airborne insect touching upon water, thoughts move quiet, elegant, subtle, exquisite upon a deeper flowing stream of life. It's tapping into a much deeper consciousness of life. In the past few weeks, it's been apparent how many of us have chosen quiet activities to help our minds reach into and rest upon such a quiet stream. In some ways, by doing this, we've come home to something of deep human value. The urge to do long put-off tasks, ordinary tasks around the house, long overdue, tackle gardens which need tender before winter, can require this quiet, solitary concentration. Some of us have experienced the desire to cultivate more natural, basic instincts such as baking bread. There's also been a resurgence in enjoyment of doing mind puzzles, and in the past week I've been helping a friend do her jigsaw puzzle. The word jigsaw, I've discovered, has come about from the jigging motion, that up and down movement of a small cutting device, which is like a saw. It has fine teeth and a small narrow blade that can cut curves in wood, metal or cardboard. It thus creates a puzzle out of one single image, and that image was once whole and now becomes many different pieces. People who do jigsaw puzzles are called dissectologists, which is interesting because it seems to me that what is actually happening is not so much breaking down and dissecting, but putting together to make dissected pieces into once more a whole. And over the past week, as I examined pieces of this jigsaw puzzle, concentrating on its shape, the pieces, their colours, their tiny clues imaged upon them, as to where they may fit into the wider scheme of the picture, I've also experienced that deeply quiet, calming sense of concentrated attention, of meditation. My mind has experienced a place of rest where, like the long-legged fly upon the stream, I was able to let my thoughts wander and settle. The pictures we often put together are of famous paintings. During this period of the pandemic, many art galleries have transformed images from their collection into free digital puzzles for people to piece together online. We practice our own tinker shuffle of mind as we find pieces that fit together. Inner contentment grows as the picture also grows, step by step. Pieces of the puzzle also remind me that we may think that we're alone and apart, dissected from the whole, but really we much depend upon one another. No two pieces of the jigsaw puzzle are ever the same, but somehow or other they all fit together, each having their own place. And so no two people are ever the same, but we too are created to be in right relationship with one another. In order for our lives to be created, healthy, and our own actions worthwhile, we need this time spent resting or careful silence breaking into our lives. Otherwise, what we ever do is only ever superficial, prey to thoughtlessness, carelessness, abuse even. Time spent in this way gives much more meaning to all our actions. As we continue to move on to the next stage of the restrictions being lifted, let's try and hold on to this delicate, subtle time-taking, this prayer time where our minds are able to move like a long-legged fly upon the stream of silence. For the continuing practice of this movement will nourish us, sustain our own actions, and enable us to give something of real value into the world today, which we so badly need. Here's the poem. That civilization may not sink, its great battle lost. Quiet the dog, tether the pony to a distant post. Our master Caesar is in his tent, where the maps are spread, his eyes fixed upon nothing, a hand under his head. Like a long-legged fly upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence. That the topless towers be burnt, and men recall that face. Move gently, if move you must, in this lonely place. She thinks part woman, 3 parts a child, that nobody looks. Her feet practice a tinker shuffle, picked up on the street. Like a long-legged fly upon the stream, her mind moves upon silence. That girls at puberty may find the first Adam in their thought. Shut the door of the Pope's chapel, keep those children out. There on that scaffolding reclines Michelangelo, with no more sound than the mice make. His hand moves to and fro. Like a long-legged fly upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence.